go. Can everybody see that?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. Alrighty. So, brief introduction of myself. Pictures my two doggos, Louie and Rye in the back. So I've been working with animals since I was 15. So more than half of my life, I've been working with animals, various positions, whether in veterinarian hospitals, wildlife rehab facilities. I even got to help with the BP oil spill with rescuing sea turtles and working with the local fishermen with that aspect. And then I worked at the North Shore Animal League on Long Island as a veterinarian assistant, which basically I helped intake every animal that came into that facility, which was a whole heck of a lot. So I got my small taste of shelter life from there, which was a pretty enormous place. I took a short break from animal welfare because it kind of burned me out a little bit, but I went into customer service, various customer service jobs, always working with people, bettering their interactions with whatever company I was working with. And then I got pulled back into animal welfare. And I decided to go super rural and move to a little town in Vermont and go to a tiny shelter of 600 animals a year in rural Vermont as their pet adoption center manager, which was everything, which was phones, doing adoptions, helping with strays, doing medical, doing transport, a little bit of everything. So it was a nice change and always kept things going, which is one of the things I absolutely love about animal welfare. No 2 days are the same, ever. You never know what's going to walk through the door, which is scary, but very exciting at the same time. So the shelter that I currently work at is the Animal Rescue League right in Berks County. Berks County is a weird mishmash of city, suburban, and rural areas. We're celebrating our 70th anniversary this year of being open, which is really exciting. And we only recently moved to a no-kill model only in 2018. So we've gone through a lot of major changes in just a short period of time. Probably too short. We're still playing catch up a little bit, but more importantly, the community is playing catch up with, all of the massive changes that we've had, especially with the volume that we do. We do 5,000 to 6,000 animals a year with minimal transports. So it's mainly all animals within Berks County are those 5,000 to 6,000 animals per year. And we do almost everything. We do dogs, cats, guinea pigs, hamsters, birds. We even have a barn. Right now we have a goat and horse. We get tons of stray pigs, ironically. They're just wandering down the streets all the time. So we get them. So it's a nice array of things that we get in. Like I said, no 2 days are the same, which is fantastic. So I only started at the Animal Rescue League back in November 2019, right before COVID. Lovely time to move and start a new job, just in time for everything to shut down. But when I started on the basis of creating this department. It was originally the admissions department. We went to the pet resource department, and now we're finally the pet help center. Because we are truly realizing that it is not only helping the animals, but we're helping the people just as much. So we were trying to find a name that would really represent as much as we can do. Not many people knew what pet resource was. It didn't translate well either, because we have a huge Hispanic, Latino community, Spanish speaking in general. So pet resource didn't translate very well. So it left a lot of our community very confused on what we did. So we came up with the Pet Help Center. As many of you are, we're the first line of communication with our community. We answer all the main phone lines, all the emails, directing calls. So more or less kind of like a secretary aspect, and we do managed intakes. We're not open admission, so everything for owner surrenders are all appointments, out of contracts, because we do have animal control as well. So contracts, they get to come in whenever. Out of contracts, we do try and schedule them if we don't have space. And Berks County is incredibly weird that we have 76 municipalities within our county alone. 76, which is huge. And then our department is responsible for, we do public euthanasia, owner surrenders, cremation, lost and found for strays. We've really been launching our surrender prevention, which varies from providing supplies, whether that's crates, litter boxes, food bowls, food, litter, for people who are moving or need to temporarily house their animal. We have a cat behaviorist and dog behaviorist on staff now. So we're able to provide the people with those resources as well. And we work with Good Pup, so we're able to provide some training resources for the community, since a lot of why dogs come in are all training related. And then the main reason that cats come in is they're not using their litter box. So luckily our cat behaviorist has been able to help a ton with minimizing the number of intakes for litter box avoidance, which has been fantastic. And we do emergency boarding. So we offer that resource to anybody who is in emergency hospitalization, house fire, or some kind of tragedy, for temporary housing. That can get it's been a little complicated and a big learning curve since we recently started that, between mental health, just the resources that the community themselves have to recoup from those types of tragedies, because there's only so much we can do with helping finding housing and other social work aspects. But we do provide we have tons of lists for everything, lists of social working agencies, lists of human shelters, lists of domestic violence shelters, child resources. So we have a whole variety of lists of resources, and animal resources as well, like emergency vet clinics. So we try and have everything that we could possibly think of available to our community, that if we can't help them in a particular way, we can at least direct them in a way. So it's never a hard no.
Hey, Alex, I have a question. Do you have that list on your website, like as a PDF, or is it just available to your staff so they know where to refer?
Right now, it's just to our staff. We are working on relaunching our website. So that's going to start, that will be on our new relaunched website. Yeah, because we want to make it as easy as possible, because I'm sure with many of you, not many people know what we really do, what we offer, the types of resources we can help with. Everybody just thinks it's either euthanasia or surrender, and that's it. That's their options. And it's not. So it's always nice to be able to provide that other alternative option to them. Maybe next slide. There we go. So as some of you are new to more of the community facing side of it and the customer side, but there's tons of complexities and interesting little caveats that happen when dealing with the public, because emotion from people are very hard to navigate and get information across appropriately. So managing the community's perception of your organization, of what we're having trouble with right now is what we did versus what we do. we're evolving with best practices. We're trying to do what is best for the animals. And that's, wasn't always the case. Or, best practices several years ago was very different than best practices now, you know. So it's getting that information out in a very positive and welcoming tone to our community, that they don't feel judged or humiliated in a way of when you're trying to explain it to them of what we can and cannot offer, why we do things. And we're really big on no blanket policies per se. We take everything very situational. Like we go over tons, like I have surrender requests, emergency boarding request forms that we fill out to the T, and we talk it over with the owner. Then it will come to management, myself, or behavior team if it's a behavior case. So it's no just yes and no. It's always talking out, seeing how we can help, in what ways we can help, because it's a very gray field, and not everybody's comfortable with it being gray. But gray gives us a lot more wiggle room to help more people and help more animals, which is the most exciting part of it. But it does make it difficult for making your staff feel empowered to make those decisions on their own without having a manager present or guiding those decisions. It's very hard, especially when I know my team juggles so many programs. They need to know every little bit. They need to know a little bit about a lot because they're answering the phones. They need to know how to direct things. It's a lot coming at them. And then especially dealing with the emotion and mental side of everything from, everything that we deal with is highly emotional, whether it's euthanasias or families deciding to surrender an animal, or somebody's putting in a cruelty complaint, or just finding an animal on the side of the road. It is emotional for a lot of people, and it's guiding them through that while being empathetic and compassionate, but not draining yourself completely as well. Compassion fatigue is a thing. That's why I took my break. It's rough, and it's managing that while still trying to help the public as best we can. And that's a tricky line. It's a tricky line. I haven't had a stable team in 2.5 years. I only recently just got a stable team, all because they couldn't handle the people side of things, the emotion, the mental draining of helping or not being able to help people, because that's also a really difficult thing of our job when dealing with the public. Is sometimes it's out of our hands, that we just don't have the resources to help in that way. Like we can point them in different directions, but when the public gets frustrated, they take it out on you because you're on the other side of the line. And it's hard in those moments not to take it personally. Easier said than done. So, so our being customer, and client facing departments, it's hard. Regardless of you're in animal welfare or working at a liquor store or whatever. It's difficult when you can't help them the way that they want, or the way that they need, but you still can't provide that. It's frustrating. So it's definitely, that's where I'm hoping this lovely forum is going to help us all, in that, we're going to be able to create that support system and that resource base for everybody, that will be able to troubleshoot things, see if somebody encountered that issue. So you don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to feel like you're alone. You don't have to start from scratch, because writing SOPs and policies and procedures are a pain. So if somebody else has them that you can tweak them, I'm all for sharing the SOPs and policies and procedures that I have, because what we do is hard and we need to lean on each other. So I'm really hoping that, you know, everybody can get something out of this customer service job alike, you know, of the sharing of the ideas and tips and tools, because ultimately it's gonna help us long term with relationships within our organizations, and more importantly, relationships with our communities long term. You know, creating those positive relationships and those positive, you know, social media posts from the public versus they didn't do this, they didn't do that. You know, really turning the tables and supporting our community more by supporting each other. So I'm really excited about all of this.